Howdy. So, my Facebook page, I have a friend, and she basically, it's like when I see people constantly posting anti-Trump propaganda, whether you voted or not for him, that's not the matter. It's really about how you handle yourself at the end of the day. But also, I was in a thought process that, like, is this the AntiChrist movement? Hear me out. Because we always think the Antichrist is like a savior who's going to deceive everybody. But I think it's already here, in the sense that we have these digital things, right? Our phones, we have apps, we have social media, we have all these outlets where the false message can be implemented. And it may not even be a human being. I think it's, well, we kind of already feel artificial intelligence is on the rise. And there's a theory where people talk about cyborg people and blah and blah and blah. But I'm trying to be very real by saying, I think that I've never thought about it this way, but I think it's true that this antichrist behavior has been instituted through this hatred towards Donald Trump. And it's not that I'm not saying I'm not supporting him, and I'm not trying to say everyone love him and like him. But what I'm trying to say is that the way of the Christ, just as Jesus exemplified, we are to love, and love is the way through every circumstance. And with love, forgiveness comes through, building bridges comes through. People can be loved out of addiction, believe it or not. If you, like, a lot of people who has been down that road of knowing what, even DMT and weed and whatever you want to say, all forms of addiction, they can be slowed down by feeling loved by people, by actually feeling validated by others and not feeling judged by others. So in essence, it fascinates me. Like, my friend, she is just so, like, every other post, I had to delete her. Every post is about what the administration is doing now to society. And, oh, we got to stop this. And, oh, blah, 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 blah. It's just, your words can't change consciousness, in the sense that what's already had been in the shift, it has to complete itself. And if you go to my video, I talk about timelines. When there's a timeline that begins, everything and anything within that timeline, if you had been involved with watching it, observing it, witnessing it, or instituting it, you have to go through finishing it. That's the only way to move on. And so you can't change someone else's consciousness by that frequency of anger, hate, and frustration. So this anti-Trump movement, it's almost like it's going against the people that are saying, look, just let it go, or please, like, try to focus on yourself, focus on the love, focus on, what you got to do day to day. I say this every day. And there's so many people that say, Aaron, you need to just stop. You have to stop telling. You're fighting a battle that you're never going to win. So what was salvation 2,500 years ago? What was the ultimate sacrifice? Father, why have you forsaken me? But he still perished by the same people who were the accusers, by the same people who did not believe, by the same people who didn't like hearing the truth. or the people who are not used to the reality being shifted. So, in essence, I think I figured out the Antichrist. It is really engineered the behavior of people to come against those who are trying to step in the name of love. And we're getting ran over and bombarded. And I don't think anyone has seen this perspective before. And it's a shame, and it breaks my heart that I've expressed so many times to so many thousands of people. There's a better life that you can focus on, and it's called yourself. Because focusing on all of that out there, it's all being told to you what you're to hate. It's being told what someone did to this victim. It's being told to you this suspect came out and said blah, 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 but then there's no interview of the person. There's one interview of one person, but then these stories come out, but then there's no other backup besides the story that the secondary source or the third party is telling the people. Let's say the third party and the secondary source who opposes the side of the subject is the one telling you to hate him. It's like if you're in a conversation with your friends, right? And it always comes up where there's one odd person who's a mutual friend, and everyone says, "Ugh, I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know. He got some issues." We all do that. So why can we forgive those people and let those situations go, but then there's one topic you can't forget? This one topic of one man who you don't know intimately, and I'm not like I'm saying I support him. I'm just against the hatred. I don't see, and people would say, Aaron, well, why don't you go against? Because I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to you. I've sent many tweets and I've put out my words, but I pray protection, I pray guidance, and I pray healing, and I pray love intervenes for that person. I'm willing to sacrifice what could be negative and say, you know what? I hope for a better day. I hope the divine, the angels, whatever you believe, that they will intercept the corruption. And you know what? I actually see it happening. I see things that many people don't. And the work of the Father is behind the scenes doing these things, but everyone is so blind to see only what they hate. They're coming against what the Father has made a covenant for. That's Antichrist. So are you not aware that you're an Antichrist spirit, that you've inherited the Antichrist spirit? And if you have, you really need to do some soul searching and some digging in your own heart, and you got to let it go. You have to let it go. Right now is the time to let it go. Because another day of more hatred towards one person is going to cast you into the bottomless pit. And it's not, for me, I don't think bottomless pit is a literal thing. I think it's just when you perish, there's a whole nother reality. And that whole other reality is you having to think and dwell about, I should have done blah, 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 and blah. And you can't find the resource to outlet yourself to express that. So you're going through a loop of stifling yourself for a very long time. And who wants to do that? Let's say if an underworld exists, hell, or another world where you go to another conscious body. Who wants to do that, doom themselves about their future because they can't get over the past? And those are what we call the accusers. You have to really, thank you, Petra, for saying that video earlier. You really have to make your future worth it. And by doing that, you have to sort of like detach yourself from what has happened to you and how you were affected, and you have to manifest your way forward. And the only way forward is with this thing right in here. How you feel when you're angry, when you cry and you let it go, or when you're happy and you feel the tears in your eyes, you're about to let it go, or when you laugh too hard, you get tears in your eyes. Even for me, when I see a father and a son, and I know I can't have my own natural child biologically, I have tears because I will never know what it's like to have my own child. But then I'm happy to see that someone has that opportunity. Those tears, that is like the secretion from your heart. And when you have that, it really just makes you a better person. So can you next time let it out when you feel what you feel, instead of chastise, throw stones, and criticize someone that you have never met in person? And you can't judge someone you've never met before, let alone judge. So I'm going to leave this video to you all. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.